I was only able to get an A1C, which is your blood sugar, so that I could start this program, so that I could officially say, because I knew my diabetes was reverse, and I wanted to see it on a chart and a graph that I could show people. And in fact, I'm showing it right now. You can't even see it, but here's where you all go, wow, that's amazing, Rocket. Go ahead.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Sorry.
Did we just wake her up? Wait.
Over anybody.
Sasha, I'm going to wake her up in the other studio, tap on her back.
But let me get back to your question, JT. The whole deal about getting tested is if you don't have anything that looks suspicious that requires a test, they won't do it other than once a year. Okay. So not to worry. And the reason why, not because they're buttheads or anything, is because they can't refer that to insurance. Right. So what I have started doing is there are independent labs that you can call in your area. Just Google independent lab in Omaha for blood or whatever. And you can go in and get that done like that. Now you have to pay for it. Right. But I think it's worth, everybody should know what their A1C is if they're doing this. And on Friday, what I am doing is I am giving the magic formula to understanding exactly what kind of ketosis you're in and whether or not you're actually burning fat. Here's my latest thing is that everybody is so, trendy. Oh, I'm going to, I'm doing like the keto diet, man, and just because you are doing some version of what you think is the keto diet does not mean you're burning any fat. Okay. The only way you know that for sure is blood work. And you can, number one, measure your blood sugar. And number two, measure your ketones. And then there is a formula where you can divide them and mesh them and spit out a ratio of blood sugar in your blood compared to ketones in your blood. And obviously, you want the blood sugar over here and the ketones over here. You want to get them really balanced as much as you can. And when they're balanced, man, you are just killing it with burning fat.
I had no idea. That's I had never, because see, the only ketone test I've ever seen, and I did keto, I'd say the best I could a couple of years ago, really, and was the strips, right?
Peeing on the strips.
That you pee on.
I never could.
And I've heard time and again that they're no good.
My hand, man.
It's had ketones everywhere, huh? Those ketones were everywhere.
Yeah.
But you quit leaving your ketones everywhere. Jeez, Rocket.
Ketones all over my sleeve, all over the floor.
Wow.
And then it doesn't even turn purple.
Right? How disappointing is that, right?
I know.
So that's a blood test you can have though?
You can do that at home.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I do it 2 or 3 times a day. So, and then that way I know exactly where I am. The whole burn ketone thing is if you are 0.5 on the keto meter all the way up to 4.5, 5.0, that is the range of healthy ketones. And then you divide that into your blood sugar with a certain formula. And I'm going to do a whole show on that on Friday, just to show people how to do that. And man, if you can get in if you can get on those ranges, it's just like a furnace. Now, I wish I'd have known that 4 years ago, right? Because I just had to kind of discover all this, walking around like Mr. Magoo trying to figure out, what do we do now? I just kind of did it instinctively. And it's only after the fact that I got so interested in it, I found out how to do it, which is why and I learn every day, Sasha, wake the hell up and tell me what you're thinking.
I'm thinking that, I know for a fact that for Jill, that she's seen like results with what she's been doing. And obviously you've seen results with what you've been doing. We talk a lot about on our podcast, just like macro, like nourishing your body, like feeding it fuel. Like that's how we talk about things there. But we also like, there's always space for specific things like we're talking about today, because it does work for certain people, but doing it the correct way is the safest way to do it. But educating people on how to do it the correct way, I think is super important.
I have found, and I think Jill mentioned this the other day when I was on with them, that the medical community is not real hip to this issue, fasting. And it really is, because the American diet is like this, right? That's what, 15, 16 hours of feeding. And then, they sleep a little bit. So these windows are just so out of whack. And the health of America lives in flipping those so that the fasting window is here and the feeding window is here, because the body doesn't get a chance to process. It doesn't get a chance to go through the entire digestion process, which is about a 6 to 8 hour period. And if you're eating, I'm so pissed off, because in the 90s, they came out with this, you got to eat 6 little meals a day. That's insanity.
You look at, you're so right, Rocket. When you think about that now, it's like, oh my God, what were they trying to kill us?
It was just total ignorance. I don't think it was an evil intent, but they were trying to kill us.
But if it was like, for example, say if it was 6 small meals a day, consistently every few hours, but it's the right stuff. Like it's just like it's lettuce and it's maybe like a protein, or like it's because I think what we do is we go 6 meals a day. It's like I'll go to
Olive Garden,
Burger King, and then Olive Garden for lunch, and then in between there I'll have a Snickers bar and then a hamburger for dinner.
But that's not what they were advocating, though. Not the fast food. I'm saying that they weren't the way they were advocating it was just that if you had you kept yourself to like 200 to 300 calories a meal.
I think it was 400 calories
or something like that. Yeah, because over 6 times. Yeah, that'd be right. Over 6, and so those calories weren't necessarily. They didn't say okay, but the calories have to come from X, Y, Z.
Here, you could have this donut. It's 450 calories. Cool. You can have 6 donuts a day. Well,
and you're done. Right.
Anything. Yeah.
They didn't educate us well.
Because honestly, you can lose weight at McDonald's if you wanted to. I mean, they've proven that what it does to your insides. I don't know, but God, it tastes good. But like, I get it.
Right. Well, the problem is it kind of locks you into a constant recurring cycle of your body needing that. Because it can't, because there's insulin present all through that day. If you were doing, if you decided to have your meal choices, a donut, and God, I love donuts.
Let me ask you this: when you say if you have insulin in your body all day long, is that what then promotes insulin resistance?
Totally. So let me just talk about insulin resistance. What happens is you get so much sugar in your body, and your insulin is just constantly flowing and dispensed to do something with it. The cells finally just say, man, no mas. Can't do this no more, man. And so they won't let it in, right? And so it just sits there in the bloodstream, right? And so why is that horrible? Well, it's horrible because it kills you, because it starts to damage the blood vessels, starts to damage the arteries, starts to damage the kidneys, the liver, and because that blood sugar, that glucose can't get put into the cells. It's literally starts to kill you. I am a perfect example of that. That's why my body is riddled with atherosclerosis, which is plaque, which is hardening of the arteries, which is caused by too much blood sugar in your.
That now explain too. When you say blood sugar, you say sugar in there too. That's not like a spoonful of sugar.
Glucose.
The sugar comes from a lot of different sources, and not just things that have sugar added. But your body.
Well, it's not about sugar added. It has to do with carbohydrate. Any carbohydrate and protein is going to be converted into glucose in your body.
Any carbohydrate in protein is going to be converted, or any carbohydrate in general?
and protein.
And protein. Okay.
Yeah, any carbohydrate
Okay.
and protein, right? Carbohydrate specifically, that's the source that the body wants to use, and it turns it into glucose right away. So, and if it's needed, it's used right away. If it's not, it's put into storage. Now, here's the interesting thing that just blew my mind when I learned this. We're sitting here right now, and if our insulin levels, I don't know about you retrobates, but my insulin level is so low right now that I'm burning fat as we're sitting here.
I am not.
Okay? And you are probably not.
I am not. Just FYI.
Because of your blood sugar is elevated and there's insulin there. I would, and JT's probably the same way because she's kind of in the carnivore thing. So she's getting a lot of protein and fat. The fat is mitigating the sugar that protein is being converted to. So it's a slower burn, which is going to lower her. How am I doing, Sasha?
Well, you're good. I'm like, yes, I follow.
All I hear is let's go to the officials. Okay.
Let's go to the booth. That last comment is under review.
Throw your challenge flag.
I'm going to find a flag.
Well, she hasn't. I'm kind of nervous actually.
I'm going to get a flag. I'm going to get a flag. Hold on.
I know
that, flag
I know that she'll throw the challenge flag. So the thing is, look, at rest, the body. He's got the flag.
Looks like underpants, but it's a mask.
You know what? Oh my God. I couldn't believe that. I was going to do a little episode on the mask. Sitting in my passenger car, I'm driving. I look over there and I do a double take, and I said, "My God, that looks like somebody's panties."
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And here you go, do the same exact thing.
It does.
Oh my God.
I know my son I sit in the back of his car on his back seat, and I almost grounded him before I even asked him what it was because they're just sitting there. I'm like, what?
What are you doing, man?
Right?
You got to put those in the glove box.
Right? Hide them at least under the something.
Oh my God.
We have a thing called the basal metabolic rate. Okay. And what that is the amount of calories that the body uses to burn to keep us alive. Has nothing to do with exercise, none of that. It just keeps our brain working, our mouth yakking, the heart, the lungs, the liver, everything is run by those calories. And it prefers, if there's no insulin, it prefers to do that out of your fat stores. Okay. So that's why it's more important to be calm, be anxiety-free, and to, when you work out, for an old guy like me, just to walk. Because as long as your heart rate is not getting up to a level where you're panting, okay, you're burning fat while you're walking. Same thing when you go to sleep overnight. When you hit that 12-hour mark, you're burning fat, dude. I mean, you're burning fat. And that's why I last night challenged people who listened to just do this tonight. Just do a 12-hour fast. You don't have to be like Rocket. You can be like yourself and just do 12 hours. And at 12 hours, what's going to happen? I want you to congratulate yourself and celebrate a little bit because you are burning your fat. How's that feel? And all of a sudden you get so empowered. You say, well, yeah, that feels pretty good. I know it might be a little struggle, but hey, it feels pretty good. It empowers you to take over control of the most important thing we have, which is your body. And I'm not just talking about cosmetic reasons, like my case, but it just empowers you. And then I made a comment last night, and who knows, you might be so empowered and feel so good, you might want to stretch it to 13 hours. You find that the case, JT?
Yeah, it is. It's like when I find out that, when I first started this in particular, it's getting easier and easier because I look forward to that 4 o'clock feeding time.
Yeah.
And I plan for what I'm going to eat because I want to eat the right stuff, and I want to make sure I have the right stuff in the house. Because I'm going to be hungry. And so it's like, I want to make sure that I have enough of what I need to be comfortably full and to feel satisfied, and then I'm not interested in it. It's really weird. The cravings, like you said, talking about fats, that's just key. I mean, that's key to making everything else feel better. And like Sasha mentioned about the other side effects, losing weight wasn't the reason I did it. I did it because I have eczema on my hands. It's called dyshydrotic eczema, and I've dealt with it for years. And I'm convinced it's from the inside out. It's not something I touch. It's not my nerves.
Right.
The triggers don't match up otherwise. And right now, I don't know, you can't see, but my hands, it's gone. And I had it horribly when I started this in August. And I've seen it continuously get better. But the other things where my joints don't hurt, and noticeably I get up in the morning, nothing hurts. And that wasn't the case before. It was like going down the stairs, there were some snap, crackles, and pops in my ankles.
Right.
And stretching was really important because in the morning, just trying to get things, my calves would hurt really bad. And I don't feel that. My hair feels better. My skin looks better. And that's just August, September, October, November is what I mean. So I'm just over 3 months that I've been doing this. And like I said, I've had a couple slip ups, and I did pay for it too, because I would have a flare up depending on what I did.
Interesting. Well, see, that's the beauty of fasting. First of all, let me just make sure everybody knows this is not a diet, right? It is a lifestyle change. It's how you view the food that you put in your mouth. And once you come to terms with that, God, the health is amazing. Now, I've had a liver issue, and in July, they wanted to send me to a liver doctor. And they sent me to a liver doctor to get a scan. I don't know what kind of scan. And it came back, well, it's not bad enough to do any intervention, but you still have some issues there. And we're going to send you to another liver doctor for some deeper consideration. And I'm going, you know what? I'm going to fix this. And so what I did from July, the entire month of July, was I did an alternate day fast every other day, which meant I ate every other day for 30 days. Okay. I've never been so energized in my life. I walk 10,000 steps every day.
So does that mean your eat window would be 24 hours and you'd have 24 hours off, and then or you would have like 12 hours and then 36 off and 12 hours? How would you do that?
Okay. The feeding window stopped at 8 o'clock in the evening. I would go all the way to the next 8 o'clock night, and then 8 o'clock the following morning. That's 36 hours.
Oh, okay.
Right. And technically that is the most healing time I've ever had in my life. And I did it specifically for my liver. And I just went for a liver thing before we started Fast Rocket. And there are 3 markers that they check for that liver disease, and 2 of the 3 came down into range, and 1 of them came down almost into range.
Wow, that's awesome.
What did the doctor say?
I'm showing that right now, and this is where y'all go, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's incredible.
Wow. I'm late again.
Wow.
She's not very convincing.
So insincere.
Poor Brian. Wow.
Wow. Okay. No, what did your doctor say though? Was your doctor like, what did you do so I can tell my other patients so I don't have to subscribe anything?
They don't. And I'll tell you what, they want to prescribe something. See, that's the deal. They want to help you manage. Now, I'm not being mean here. I really, really respect the medical industry, but their training is to prescribe things. And if it doesn't fix it, then they excise it. Cut it out. That's their training. Okay.
It's interesting because I had heard a story about that very thing, and they were talking about that's the tool they have in their kit. It's like if you ask a carpenter to fix something, they're going to grab a hammer or their screwdriver, right? They'll fix it. And with the doctor, it's their script pad.
Yep.
Right. And so we're going to prescribe something. And so when you take that away from them, it's like, okay, I can't
Right.
do that because I'm going to get in trouble if I do that, because other doctors are going to think I'm a quack and they're going to want to take my license away. And I kind of get that peer pressure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The medical community, from what I understand, doctors have 2 nutrition courses in their first 4 years of medical training. And once they get in, and that is related to like vitamin K and how does that affect diabetics, right? It's not about what you should eat or anything. It's about certain foods that affect like diabetes or cancer or that sort of thing. And then when they get into their specialty, none. It's
That's
not
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. When we even talk about what's going on right now with COVID and with the quarantines, the one thing you keep wanting to hear, but you will never hear from the doctors, is what can I do to increase my immunity, to improve my immunity? What can I eat? What should I be taking? And like they talk about D3, taking your vitamin D is very important, but they don't go into nutrition.
What I think is important, not that I'm a doctor, but I did play one on television. Actually, it was a pimp. But
they called you doctor.
They called me doctor. Doctor, Mr. Indy. Can you tell me what's wrong with me? Oh my God. Oh, well, that was delightful. I forgot where I was going.
That's you about nutrition and what you do about immunity. And we were just talking about that.
Now, yes, I will point everyone to my buddy, Dr. Wally. Dr. Wally was my doctor there when I was in Omaha. Fabulous man, great friend. And he is an ear, nose, and throat doc, surgeon. And the minute this came out, he got a hold of me and said, hey, I got something for you. And he has a thing where, and if you want it, I'll send it to you, the recipe. And I take it every day, 2 or 3 times. It's a spray that you create with iodine and saline. And you spray it in the back of your throat because that's what gets attacked first by the coronavirus. And it's the same iodine presentation that they will use like in a surgery field, right? And the reason they do that is to prevent germs. And I've been doing that ever since this.
Right.
Oh, sorry. Thanks for joining Fast Rocket. We'll see you guys later.
This is going to be a lit episode.
Right?
We lost him.